The massive screen in the Imperial High Council chamber flickered with strange signals. Lord Commander Reed, leader of the Empire's Scout Division, stood nervously before the 12 members of the High Council. His purple skin had turned nearly white with stress. "My lords, these signals come from the third planet of a yellow star system. The beings there call it Earth," Reed said, his voice echoing in the silent chamber. The head counselor, an ancient being with gray skin and glowing eyes, leaned forward. "Why bring us signals from such a primitive world? Our empire spans 10,000 galaxies. We have ruled for 50,000 years." Reed pressed a button, showing images of Earth's cities, vehicles, and military bases. "My lords, these creatures, they call themselves humans. They're different. 20 years ago, they had no space travel. Now they have colonies on their red neighbor planet. They advance faster than any species we've ever seen." The council members whispered among themselves. Such rapid progress was unheard of. Most species took thousands of years to achieve spaceflight. These humans had done it in decades. "How dangerous are they?" asked a female council member. Reed showed more images. "They live on what we call a death world. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous predators. Their bodies are mostly water, yet they survive. They can run longer than any known species. They heal quickly. And most worrying," he paused, "they never stop adapting." The head counselor waved his hand dismissively. "They are young and primitive. Send Admiral Stone to deliver our standard message. Submit to Imperial rule or face destruction. They will bow like all others." In his private chamber later that day, Admiral Stone watched Earth's military history with growing concern. These humans fought constantly, yet instead of destroying themselves, they grew stronger. Each war brought new weapons, new tactics. They had more ways to fight than any species he'd studied in his 300-year career. "Computer, show me their current military strength," Stone commanded. Numbers filled his screen. Earth had thousands of nuclear weapons, yet they hadn't used them in war since developing them. They had armies trained for every environment: desert, Arctic, forest, mountain. Their soldiers could fight in space and under oceans. "Fascinating," Stone muttered. "They prepare for every possible threat." His ship, the Imperial Glory, arrived in Earth's solar system 3 days later. Following standard procedure, he positioned his fleet near their moon. His communications officer sent the Empire's message in all Earth languages. "People of Earth, the eternal Galactic Empire claims this system. Submit to Imperial rule. Resistance means extinction. You have 1 planetary rotation to respond." The response came faster than expected. A human appeared on his screen. Their United Earth president. The being looked soft, with no scales or armor, just pink skin and gray hair. "Admiral," the president said calmly, "Earth welcomes peaceful contact with alien civilizations. However, we do not submit to threats. We invite you to send diplomats for peaceful discussions. But be warned, humanity has never surrendered to any force that threatened our freedom. We don't plan to start now." Stone felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: doubt. The human showed no fear. Standard procedure said to launch an immediate attack after such defiance, but something felt wrong. He sent a private message to the High Council. "My lords, recommend caution with Earth. These humans are different. They seem almost eager for us to attack." The Council's response was immediate. "Follow standard procedure. Make an example of their largest city. Show them the Empire's power." As Stone prepared his ships for the attack, alarms suddenly blared. His tactical officer shouted, "Admiral, multiple small ships approaching from the dark side of their moon." "Impossible," Stone said. "Our sensors showed no ships there." But the humans had hidden their ships in natural moon caves, shielded from Imperial scans. Now they streamed out, moving in patterns Stone had never seen before. The first human war was about to begin. And for the first time in Imperial history, an admiral felt fear of a primitive species. The humans were about to teach the galaxy a lesson. Never mistake being young for being weak. The Imperial fleet's golden ships filled Earth's sky like artificial stars. Admiral Stone watched from his command chair as his weapons officers prepared to fire on New York City. It should have been a simple mission, one blast to show Earth's weakness, then accept their surrender. But nothing about these humans was simple. "Admiral," his sensor officer shouted, "the human ships, they're not attacking us." Stone leaned forward. The small Earth ships darted between his fleet's formations, but fired no weapons. Then he saw it. Each human ship was dragging something. "Magnify," he ordered. His screen showed the truth too late. The humans had attached engines to hundreds of asteroids from their belt system. Now they released these giant rocks, letting gravity pull them toward his perfectly arranged fleet. "Evasive action," Stone shouted. But Imperial ships were built for power, not speed. The humans had studied this. As his fleet broke formation to dodge the asteroids, the real attack began. Earth's ships struck from all directions. They were smaller, weaker, and slower than Imperial vessels. But they attacked in ways that defied all military logic. Some human ships deliberately crashed into Imperial shields, overloading them. Others fired strange electronic pulses that confused Imperial targeting systems. "We've lost 30 ships," his officer reported in shock. "The humans, they're using our own ships as shields." Stone watched in horror as human vessels darted between Imperial ships, causing his gunners to hit their own fleet. Every Imperial tactic, perfected over thousands of years, fell apart against human chaos. Then came the transmission from Mars Colony. The humans had built more than just a settlement there. The red planet's surface split open, revealing massive gun batteries. Energy beams shot up from Mars, catching Stone's fleet from below, while Earth's ships attacked from above. "Admiral," his second-in-command said quietly, "we've lost 40% of our fleet. We must retreat." Stone couldn't believe it. The Empire had not lost a battle in 10,000 years. Yet these primitives had turned his own perfect tactics against him. The High Council received his retreat message with stunned silence. Then the shouting began. "Impossible. They're savages. How did they hide such weapons?" The head counselor raised his hand for silence. "Tell us, Admiral, how did they defeat our mighty fleet?" Stone's hologram flickered as he replied. "They used creativity. Every Imperial ship follows the same tactics. Humans study their enemy, then do the unexpected. They turned asteroids into weapons. They used our own formations against us. They built secret bases right before our eyes. And most importantly," he paused, "they were ready to die to protect their world." On Earth, the mood was both victorious and grim. In the United Earth Defense Bunker deep under the Rocky Mountains, military leaders watched the Imperial fleet retreat. General Thompson stood before the world's assembled commanders. "Today we bloodied their nose, but the Empire will be back. They'll come with a bigger fleet next time. We need to prepare." "What's our advantage?" asked the Russian commander. Thompson smiled. "They'd fought the same way for 10,000 years. We've survived by always finding new ways to fight. They follow rules. We break them." He pointed to a screen showing captured Imperial technology. "Their ships are more advanced, but they're all the same. Every shield frequency, every weapon, every tactic, identical. Now we know their playbook." The Chinese admiral nodded. "And they don't know ours, because we have thousands of ways to fight." "Exactly," Thompson said. "The Empire thinks war has rules. Humanity knows better. We've spent our history learning to fight smarter, not just stronger. Now we'll show them what happens when you corner a species that never learned to quit." In space, Earth's ships were already being modified with salvaged Imperial technology. Scientists worked around the clock, combining human ingenuity with alien tech. The Empire had planned to make an example of Earth. Instead, Humanity was about to teach the galaxy what real warfare looked like. As Admiral Stone wrote in his report, the humans don't just fight wars. They rewrite the rules of war itself. The Empire has forgotten how to adapt. The humans never stop adapting, and that makes them more dangerous than any species we've ever faced. In the Imperial Central Archives, a team of military analysts watched battle recordings from Earth for the 100th time. Their task was simple: understand how a primitive species had defeated the Empire's finest fleet. Lead analyst Baker, an expert with 3 centuries of experience, rubbed his tired eyes. "Play the asteroid attack again," he ordered. The holographic display showed Earth ships dragging space rocks into battle. But this time, Baker noticed something new. Freeze image. Look at their pilot movements. Each ship flies differently. They're not following any standard pattern. His assistant nodded. "We found something interesting about humans. Their average lifespan is less than 100 years. "So short?" Baker asked. "In the Empire, most species lived for centuries. It was why progress was slow, careful, and ordered." "Yes, but that's what makes them dangerous," the assistant explained. "They must adapt quickly because they have so little time. Their entire civilization changes every few decades. The humans who defeated our fleet learned warfare in completely different ways from their ancestors." Baker pulled up Earth's military history. The images shocked him. Humans fighting on horses with swords, then with gunpowder weapons, then with tanks, then with nuclear weapons, all in just a few centuries. The Empire had used the same basic tactics for 50,000 years. "Show me their combat training," he ordered. The screens filled with different types of human warfare: desert combat, Arctic warfare, jungle fighting, urban combat, space tactics, cyber warfare, guerrilla operations. "They have more types of warfare than any species we've studied," Baker said. But why? His team had discovered something troubling. Humans evolved on a planet where they weren't the strongest, fastest, or largest creature. They survived by outthinking their predators. This habit never left them. In another part of the Imperial Palace, Admiral Stone met with the High Council again. The chamber was tense with anger and fear. "Tell us about their weaknesses," the head counselor demanded. Stone stood straight. "My lords, their greatest weakness might be their greatest strength. Humans are physically weaker than most species. Their bones break easily. Their skin tears. They can't survive extreme temperatures without protection." "How does this strength?" a council member interrupted. "Because they know they're weak," Stone explained. "They never assume they're the strongest, so they always prepare for stronger enemies. They build weapons to make up for their weakness. They create tactics to defeat bigger opponents." He showed them Earth's entertainment videos, something called action movies, where humans imagined fighting various alien invasions. "Look," Stone pointed. "They'd been preparing for us before they even knew we existed. Every possible way to fight aliens. They've already imagined it, planned for it, trained for it." The council watched in growing horror as Stone explained another discovery. Humans have something they call fiction. They spend time imagining things that don't exist. Then they try to make these imaginary things real. Many of their weapons started as stories in their entertainment. In Earth's lunar base, human scientists were proving Stone right. They studied captured Imperial technology with intense curiosity. Unlike the Empire scientists, who followed centuries of established procedures, humans asked dangerous questions. What if we combine their shield technology with our nuclear weapons? Can we modify their space drives using quantum mechanics? What happens if we do something they think is impossible? General Thompson toured the lunar lab, watching teams take apart Imperial devices. One scientist approached him excitedly. "Sir, we found out why their ships are all identical," she said. "They use artificial intelligence to control everything. Perfect, logical, predictable AI. But that's their weakness." "How so?" Thompson asked. "Their AI can't handle chaos, It follows patterns, but human pilots are unpredictable. We make mistakes that turn into advantages. We try impossible things because we don't know they're impossible. Thompson smiled. So the more random we are, the more their perfect systems fail, she finished. As if to prove the point, another team had just succeeded in something the Empire thought impossible, combining human and Imperial technology in ways the aliens had never imagined. The Empire had spent 50,000 years perfecting their way of war, but they were about to learn that perfection was no match for human creativity. In his private chamber, Baker wrote his final analysis. Warning: do not underestimate humans because they are young. They have learned more about warfare in 1,000 years than we have in 50,000. Because when your lifespan is short, you either adapt quickly or you die. The Empire's main battle fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 10,000 ships strong, it was the largest military force assembled in 500 years. Grand Marshal Williams of the Imperial forces stood on his bridge, confident in their overwhelming power. Begin the attack, he ordered. Show these humans what real Imperial might looks like. But as his fleet approached Mars orbit, his tactical officer frowned. Sir, we're detecting no human ships. Their bases on Mars. They're empty. Williams smiled. They've run away. As expected from. Sir, his sensor operator interrupted. Energy spike from Jupiter's moons. Suddenly, the space around Jupiter lit up. The humans hadn't retreated. They'd been waiting. During the months since the first battle, they'd built hidden bases in Jupiter's moons. Now, strange-looking ships emerged from these bases. They were unlike anything the Empire had seen before. What are those? Williams demanded. His science officer studied the readings. They're impossible. They've combined our technology with theirs in ways that shouldn't work. They're breaking every rule of Imperial engineering. The human ships looked like a mix of Earth and Imperial design. They moved in ways that Imperial ships couldn't match, using both technologies together. The Empire had perfected their technology over 50,000 years. The humans had taken it and changed it in 3 months. Launch fighters, Williams ordered. Imperial fighter squadrons flew in perfect formation, just as they had for 10,000 years. The human response shocked them again. Their fighters split into smaller craft mid-flight, something Imperial ships couldn't do. When Imperial weapons locked onto them, the human ships released clouds of tiny robots that confused targeting systems. Sir, they're using our own technology against us, an officer reported, but they've modified it. Our AIs can't predict what they'll do because they're not following any known patterns. Then came humanity's secret weapon. They called it Project Phoenix. As Imperial ships approached Earth, hundreds of strange objects appeared from behind Earth's moon. They looked like satellites but moved like living things. What is this? Williams whispered. Project Phoenix was humanity's greatest achievement, a combination of Imperial AI and human unpredictability. While the Empire used AI to make perfect logical decisions, humans had programmed their AIs to be creative and unpredictable. The Phoenix units swarmed Imperial ships like electronic hornets. They couldn't be targeted because they never moved the same way twice. They adapted their attacks based on the enemy's response, learning and changing tactics faster than Imperial computers could react. We're losing ships, the tactical officer shouted. Their weapons. They're shutting down our systems. Williams watched in horror as his perfect fleet fell into chaos. The humans attacked from all directions, using tactics that changed minute by minute. When the Empire adapted to one strategy, the humans switched to another. In Earth's command center, General Thompson watched the battle with grim satisfaction. Send in the third wave, he ordered. More ships appeared, launching from bases hidden in asteroid belts. The Empire's neat formations broke apart under attacks from multiple directions. Imperial ships, programmed to fight in specific ways, couldn't handle the constant changes in human tactics. Sir, a human commander reported, The Imperial flagship is trying to retreat. Thompson nodded. Let them go. We want survivors to report what they've seen. The Empire had brought 10,000 ships to crush humanity. Within 6 hours, they had lost 3,000. The rest retreated in disorder, their perfect formations shattered. On the Imperial flagship, Williams recorded his battle report with shaking hands. The humans don't just use technology, they change it. They take our perfect systems and make them imperfect, but stronger. They turn our greatest strengths into weaknesses. They don't fight the way anyone has fought before. In the wreckage of battle, human salvage teams were already at work, collecting destroyed Imperial ships. Each piece of technology would be studied, modified, and improved. The Empire had thought their technology was perfect. The humans were about to show them that perfection was the enemy of progress. As Thompson told his commanders, the Empire stopped evolving because they thought they were perfect. Humanity never stops evolving because we know we're not, and that's why we'll win. Deep in Imperial territory, on a mining colony named Haven, alien workers gathered secretly around a makeshift screen. They watched something forbidden, human broadcasts showing Imperial ships fleeing from Earth's forces. "Look," whispered a worker, his scales shimmering in the dim light. The unbeatable Empire, beaten. For 50,000 years, the Empire had seemed eternal and undefeatable. But now, primitive humans had done the impossible. Word spread through the galaxy, carried by smugglers and traders. Earth wasn't just fighting back. They were winning. In the Imperial Palace, the High Council faced its greatest crisis. The head counselor's hands shook as he read reports from across the Empire. "Our subjects are watching human broadcasts," he said. "They're learning from them. 3 colonies have already demanded new rights. They say if humans deserve freedom, so do they." Admiral Stone, now the Empire's chief advisor on human affairs, stepped forward. "My lords, we face a unique problem. Every time we try to block human broadcasts, they find new ways to send them. They call it the Internet, a system designed to work even when parts are destroyed. How do they keep defeating our best technology?" A council member demanded. Stone activated a hologram showing Earth's latest victories. They study each battle, learn from it, change their tactics. Our ships are stronger, but humans turn our strength against us. They've learned to disable our ships without destroying them. Now they have hundreds of Imperial vessels, modified with human improvements. The council chamber erupted in shock. Taking Imperial technology was forbidden. Modifying it was unthinkable. But humans didn't care about Imperial rules. "There's more," Stone continued. "Some of our own commanders are starting to question our tactics. They want to try human methods." This was the Empire's greatest fear. For 50,000 years, absolute obedience had kept order. But humans were teaching the galaxy a dangerous idea. Rules were meant to be broken. On a frontier Imperial world, a young Imperial commander named Drake watched his crew studying captured human data. They were fascinated by Earth's history of revolution and resistance. "Sir," his second-in-command reported, 3 more ships have surrendered to human forces. Their crews say humans treat prisoners better than the Empire treats its own people." Drake nodded quietly. He'd seen the proof himself. Captured Imperial soldiers expected execution. It was Imperial policy for failure. Instead, humans gave them medical care and decent treatment. This strange mercy was spreading dangerous ideas through the Empire. In Earth's orbital command station, General Thompson received an unexpected message. An Imperial colony was requesting human protection. "They say their workers are revolting," his communications officer reported. "The Imperial governor is asking for our help. He says he'd rather have human peacekeepers than face what's coming." Thompson smiled. Earth's broadcasts had shown the galaxy more than just military victories. They'd shown different ways of living. Democracy, freedom of choice, ideas more powerful than any weapon. The Empire's greatest mistake: Thompson told his staff, was letting their captured soldiers return home. Those soldiers told everyone the truth about us. Back in the Imperial Palace, the High Council received terrifying news. 3 more colonies had declared independence. Imperial citizens were demanding rights they'd never known existed before watching human broadcasts. "We must destroy Earth now," a council member shouted. "Use our planet-killer weapons." But Admiral Stone shook his head. "Impossible. Humans have already modified their shields using our own technology. More importantly, our fleet commanders are starting to question such orders. They're asking why we need to destroy when we could cooperate." The head counselor sank into his chair. "What have these humans done to our perfect empire?" "They showed everyone that change is possible," Stone answered. "And that's more dangerous than any weapon." In their hidden bases across the galaxy, Imperial subjects watched more human broadcasts. They learned new words: democracy, revolution, rights, freedom. The Empire had ruled through perfect order for 50,000 years. But humans had taught the galaxy that perfection wasn't the same as justice, and that lesson was spreading faster than any Imperial fleet could stop it. The Imperial Palace shook as protesters filled the streets outside. The head counselor watched through bulletproof windows as thousands of beings from different species waved signs written in human languages. Words like freedom and democracy glowed in dozens of alien scripts. "My lords," Admiral Stone addressed the frightened council, "we've lost control of 30 major systems. Our own security forces are joining the rebels." The Empire's perfect order was falling apart. On countless worlds, alien species who had served the Empire for thousands of years were rising up. They'd learned new ideas from human broadcasts, ideas about choosing their own leaders, making their own choices. "How do we stop this?" the head counselor demanded. "We can't," Stone replied simply. "The humans have taught our subjects something we could never defeat: hope." On the industrial world of Forge, the largest Imperial shipyard burned. Worker species who had built Imperial warships for centuries now used their knowledge to disable them. They communicated using modified versions of human internet technology, coordinating revolts across entire star systems. In Earth's command center, General Thompson received constant updates. "Sir, another Imperial fleet has surrendered. Their commander requests asylum." Thompson studied the report. More Imperial officers were defecting each day. They brought their ships, their crews, and their knowledge. Humans didn't just defeat the Empire's technology. They were changing its people's minds. "Look at this," his intelligence officer said, showing him footage from an Imperial colony. Alien children were playing a new game called Revolution, copying human resistance tactics they'd seen in broadcasts. Even the youngest Imperial subjects were learning to question authority. On Haven, the mining colony where the revolts began, former Imperial slaves now ran their own government. They'd copied Earth's democratic system, adapting it to their own species' needs. Their leader, a former miner, spoke to his people. "Humans taught us we don't have to accept rules that hurt us," he said. "They showed us that even the smallest and youngest species can stand up to power." The Empire tried to respond with force. They sent ships to punish rebel worlds. But their crews had watched too many human broadcasts. They'd learned about mutiny, about standing up to unjust orders. Entire Imperial fleets changed sides, their crews choosing freedom over obedience. In a secret meeting on a neutral world, Admiral Stone met with human diplomats. His hands trembled as he spoke. "You've done the impossible," he told them. "Not just beating our ships, but changing how our people think. Imperial children now ask questions we never dared to ask. They want to know why they can't choose their leaders like humans do." The human ambassador nodded. "That's why you'll never defeat us. You fight with ships and guns. We fight with ideas. And ideas, once spread, can't be destroyed." Back on Earth, scientists studied reports from across the Empire. The rebellion was spreading faster than anyone expected. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years now worked together, copying human cooperation. "Sir," A junior officer reported to Thompson, "Imperial refugees are requesting permission to settle on Earth. They want to learn our ways directly." Thompson smiled. Earth had prepared for invasion, but instead, they were becoming teachers. Imperial subjects wanted to learn human music, human art, human philosophy, everything the Empire had forbidden. In the Imperial Palace, the Council received its most shocking news yet. Their own military academy students were demanding changes. Young officers quoted human ideas about duty, honor, and the right to refuse unjust orders. "Don't they understand?" the head counselor cried. "Our system kept peace for 50,000 years." "No," Stone replied. "It kept control. Humans taught us there's a difference. Peace without freedom isn't peace at all." As imperial authority crumbled, Earth broadcast a simple message to all species: choose your own path, write your own rules, be free. The Empire had ruled through perfect order and absolute obedience, but humans had shown the galaxy something stronger: the power to choose, to change, to grow. And no force in the universe could stop an idea whose time had come. The Great Hall of the Imperial Palace was silent. For the first time in 50,000 years, beings from every species sat together as equals. Humans sat among them, no longer enemies but partners in building something new. The head counselor, now just one voice among many, stood to make the Empire's final announcement. His voice echoed through communication systems across the galaxy. "Let all species hear and remember. The Eternal Empire surrenders to humanity. But more importantly, we surrender our belief in perfect order. We choose to learn from Earth's example." On millions of worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes watched. Many cried with joy. Some older Imperials wept for their lost perfection. But none could deny the truth: the galaxy had changed forever. Admiral Stone, who had first warned about human potential, now worked with Earth's leaders to create something new: the Galactic Council. Unlike the Empire's forced order, this would be a place where all species had a voice. "You could rule us," he told General Thompson during the transition. "Your forces control most of our fleet. Your technology now surpasses ours. Yet you choose to give everyone equal power. Why?" Thompson's answer surprised him. "Because humans remember being weak. We know power isn't about controlling others. It's about helping them grow." Across former Imperial space, change spread faster than anyone expected. Humans shared their technology freely, teaching other species how to improve their worlds. But more importantly, they taught them how to think in new ways. On Haven, the mining colony that started the revolution, a human teacher worked with young aliens in the first free school. "What's the most important human idea?" a small alien child asked. The teacher smiled. "That everyone can change. That no one is stuck being what others tell them to be." In Earth's orbital station, General Thompson received a surprising request. Former Imperial worlds wanted human peacekeepers, not to control them, but to teach them how to protect themselves. "They trust us," his advisor noted, "because we never tried to rule them. We only wanted to be free, and we helped them be free too." The new Galactic Council faced its first challenge when former Imperial commanders suggested creating a unified defense fleet. "We need Earth to lead it," they said. "Humans understand both war and peace. They know when to fight and when to talk." But Earth's representatives surprised everyone. "No single species should have that power," they said. "Let's create something new. A fleet where all species serve together, learning from each other." The head counselor, watching this, finally understood humanity's true strength. "They don't want to rule," he told Stone. "They want everyone to grow stronger together." In schools across the galaxy, young beings studied Earth's history. They learned about human mistakes, human wars, human growth. The Empire had hidden its failures. Humans shared theirs openly, teaching others to learn from them. A year after the Empire's surrender, ships gathered near Earth for a celebration. Vessels of every species flew together, their crews mixing freely. Former enemies worked side by side, sharing knowledge and culture. On the surface, in a new building called the Galactic Peace Center, leaders from all species gathered. The first human ambassador addressed them. "We didn't defeat the Empire to become a new empire. We fought because everyone deserves the chance to choose their own path. Now it's your turn to choose." The Empire's last official act was to send a message to unexplored space. But instead of their old warning about imperial power, they sent something new. "If you find humans, don't run in fear. Run toward them with hope." They taught us that the greatest power isn't perfect control. It's the strength to change and grow. They defeated our mighty empire not through force alone, but by showing us a better way to live. As the galaxy entered a new age, Earth became something unexpected. Not a ruler, but a teacher. Humans shared their art, music, ideas, and dreams. They taught other species that making mistakes was part of growing stronger. The Empire had ruled through fear for 50,000 years, but humans showed the galaxy something stronger than fear, hope, and in the end, that changed everything.